Hi, dear Congress coordinators and participants. My name is Zehra Tugba. I am a PhD student at Landscape Architecture at Istanbul Technical University. Today, I will talk to you about my study titled Standards and Institutional Approaches in Landscape Architecture Education, Case of Turkey, developed within the scope of my PhD thesis. The aim of this study is to evaluate the current status of landscape architecture education in Turkey according to the educational standards. In this context, the study consisted of four stages. In the first stage, the educational standards developed for landscape architecture education in the world examined by literature review, while Turkey's education standards in landscape architecture are compared via TAAC and PEMDER. By the comparison of standards, selected university curricula were analyzed to determine the current status of the education, and in the last stage, conclusions are drawn from the comparison of the curricula. In Turkey, the unique characteristic of each region, the diversity of academic programs, and the opportunity they offer play an important role in shaping the development of education. In this context, 10 schools from different faculties that stand out in terms of the institutionalization of the educational process were selected as a sample of the study. Ankara University Faculty of Agriculture created Turkey's first landscape architecture program. Çukurova University Faculty of Architecture is the pioneering institution for landscape architecture education in the Mediterranean region. The Faculty of Agriculture at Ege University is the first institution to offer landscape architecture education in the Aegean region. Istanbul University Cerrahpaşa Faculty of Forestry established the first official undergraduate program in Turkey, leading to the graduation of the Turkey's inaugural landscape architecture. The Faculty of Forestry at Karadeniz Technical University has played a pivotal role in advancing landscape architecture education in the Black Sea region. Atatürk University Faculty of Architecture and Design is the first university in the Eastern Anatolia region. İhsan Ülkü Bilkent University at the Faculty of Fine Arts, Design and Architecture offers Turkey's first interdisciplinary undergraduate program in urban design and landscape architecture. Akdeniz University Faculty of Architecture has made noteworthy contribution to the institutionalization of landscape architecture education in the local level. Istanbul Technical University Faculty of Architecture introduced landscape architecture education within Turkey's Faculty of Architecture and is the only international accredited institution in the field. İnönü University Faculty of Fine Arts is the first Faculty of Fine Arts to offer landscape architecture education in Eastern Anatolia region. First of all, I will talk about the discipline of landscape architecture and why there is a need for educational standards. The discipline of landscape architecture is an integrated relationship with ecology, art, society, and technology. Its education started in 1900 at Harvard University with the design, planning, and management of the urban and rural green spaces. The transdisciplinary environment of the discipline opened to the development of various perspectives in its educational process. In this context, various institutions and organizations around the world have set the standards. IFLA, International Federation of Landscape Architecture, ECLAS, European Council of Landscape Architecture Schools, and the Lenautre Landscape Education New Opportunities for Education and Research in Europe, initiative provides significant reports on education and accreditation in landscape architecture. Also, each country has its own local accreditation agency, but it is still well-known international examples. The objective of IFLA instills the concept of the global environment by the awareness of environmental needs, a commitment to technological advancement, adopting of cultural and social values, and the acquisition of professional ethical values in the next generation. Based on IFLA's established standards, a collaboration with ECLAS and Lenautre was launched in 2010 to define the competencies to be acquired during the training process. These standards outline a multidimensional pedagogical frameworks, professional competencies of grouped under 5 main headings: theory, design, planning management, plants and materials, technology, and professional practice. The UA Land 21st project was developed to adapt current circumstances of the world to the education. The curriculum was undergone a transformation with an increased emphasis on raising awareness on the protection and management of each open and green space by adding subcategories. Institutional arrangements and academic studies were conducted for a quality landscape architecture education framework in Turkey. In this context, the Turkish Higher Education Competency Framework (TAAC) and the competencies identified by the Landscape Architecture Education Association (PAMDAR) for the discipline of landscape architecture serve as a reference points for this study. Within the framework of TAAC and landscape architecture at the intersection of architecture, art, and environmental science, while its learning outcomes are categorized under the heading of knowledge, skills, and competences. The discipline competences for TAAC are delineated and recognized universal professional problems to protect natural cultural values, to synthesize knowledge with social and professional values, proficiency in project preparation, application, follow-up, creating thinking, and aesthetic thinking to establish cooperation. According to the PAMDAR, the courses are intended to be qualitatively drawn from basic natural, social science, and fine arts. The learning outcomes for these courses are divided knowledge, skills, behaviors, and discipline-specific competences. Discipline-specific competences are organized under main headings such as theory, design, planning, management, technology application, plant and structural materials. When the titles, field, and discipline-specific competences are evaluated in terms of the requirements of the landscape architecture profession, it is determined that both institutions associate the education with the design, planning, management, and professional practice. The idea that the education mission of Worldwide is to develop fast and feasible solutions to global environment problems is conveyed through applied learning methods based on scientific, social, and aesthetic principles in Turkey. According to the discipline-specific titles of PAMDAR and TAAC, the curricula of the selected university were examined under the titles of Theory, Design, Planning, Management, Professional Practice, Information Technology, Structural and Vegetation Materials, and Extracurricular Courses. The percentage of the titles in the curricula were categorized into the total numbers of courses. Conversely, the focal points of the institutions are varied as follows: Istanbul Technical University, Design and Information Technology; İstanbul Bilkent University, Theory and Design; İnönü University, Theory and Professional Practice; Çukurova University, Plant Materials and Professional Practice; Akdeniz University, Plant Materials; Karadeniz Technical University, Design and Construction Materials; Istanbul University Cerrahpaşa, Design and Plant Materials; Atatürk University, Plant Materials; Ankara and Ege University, Non-Field Courses and Pedagogical Training. Worldwide educational standards provide a general framework for the curricula and allow institutions to customize their educational approach within their landscape architecture emphasis. Within the academic and professional development structure of PAMDAR and TAAC, landscape architecture education is addressed in a comprehensive and holistic approach by the following elements: theory, planning, design, management, technology, materials, and practice. These standards contribute to the development of unique academic approach and support the preservation of differences in institutional vision in the educational process. The diversity of educational approaches will facilitate the development of the programs aligned with international standards while being sensitive to the local needs. And my references is there. And thank you for listening.